The Godavari River flowed, usually a giver of life, a sacred ancient waterway, but in 2015 it revealed death. A fisherman saw something, floating near the bank. It was not driftwood, it was horror. Pure cold horror, a human body. But something was terribly wrong. The body had no head, just a torso, lifeless in the water. The news spread like a virus. Fear choked the small villages. Who could do such a thing? Why this brutality? Soon another body was found, then another, and another. The river kept yielding its grim secrets. A truly nightmarish scene unfolded. The count rose slowly. Each discovery was a fresh shock. 1, 2, then more. Finally, 9 bodies, 9 headless torsos, pulled from the gentle currents. The Godavari had become a tomb, a place of unimaginable terror. The quiet peace of the riverbanks shattered, replaced by sirens and hushed, fearful whispers. The impact was immediate, profound, deeply unsettling. Locals stared at the river. The water they drank, the water they used for crops, now seemed tainted by blood, by an unspeakable crime. Children were kept indoors. Old tales of river demons resurfaced. The Godavari held them captive in fear. The people were terrified. Fishermen hesitated to cast their nets. The river was their livelihood. Now it felt like a curse. Every shadow on the water, every ripple seemed to hide a monster. Rumors flew from mouth to mouth, wild stories, desperate guesses. No one felt safe anymore. The familiar landscape turned alien, hostile. Police descended on the area, their faces grim, their task immense. Who were these victims? Where were their heads? Were these murders connected? It seemed certain they were, but why? And by whom? The questions piled up. Answers were scarce, buried deep. The investigation began with little to go on. The state of the bodies offered few clues. Decomposition had begun. The decapitations were clean, almost surgical, chillingly precise. This suggested a cold, methodical killer, or killers, working with purpose. There were no immediate signs of struggle, no clear identifying marks left. Only the brutal shared fate. This precision was deeply disturbing. The media arrived in droves. News vans, reporters, cameras. The Godavari mystery hit headlines. National news, international intrigue. Pressure mounted on the police. Find the culprits, restore calm. But the case was a maze. Each path seemed a dead end. The lack of heads was a huge hurdle. Identification became a monumental challenge. Dark theories began to surface. One was cult sacrifice, the headless state, the number 9. Did these point to a ritual? Were there hidden cults nearby, practicing ancient bloody rites? Such thoughts sent shivers down spines. The idea of organized ritualistic killing. It was almost too dreadful to imagine, but the possibility lingered. Then came whispers of black magic, tantric rituals, agoris, stories of power sought through human sacrifice, headless offerings to dark deities. These were not new fears, deep-rooted in some local folklore. The gruesome nature of the crime. It fit these terrifying narratives, fueling public anxiety even more. Was this the work of sorcerers? Police explored these angles. Could it be so-called human sacrifice? Such acts, though rare, were not unheard of, especially in remote areas, driven by superstition or greed. Investigators looked for patterns, for any links to known practitioners. The search for motive was desperate. Was it a quest for hidden treasure, or a more sinister spiritual aim? These theories painted a grim picture of a hidden underbelly, where dark beliefs held sway. It made the killers seem less human, more like monsters from a nightmare. The community was already scared. These possibilities amplified the terror. The unknown motive was itself a torment. The silence from the perpetrators. It was deafening and deeply unnerving. Special investigation teams were formed. Police worked day and night. They scoured missing persons reports from all nearby districts and beyond, hoping for a name, a face, something to connect to the victims. Divers searched the riverbed, looking for heads, for weapons, for clues. The river was vast, the task daunting. Every effort seemed to hit a wall. The challenges were immense. No eyewitnesses came forward. The river, a flowing crime scene. It washed away evidence, carried secrets downstream. Without heads, identification was tough. DNA was an option. But they needed something to compare it to. Family members to come forward. And how could they, without knowing? Forensic science offered some hope. But it had its limits here. The bodies were in water for days. This complicated analysis. Experts tried to determine age, gender, perhaps even region of origin. But the crucial pieces were missing. The heads, the identities, the motive. Frustration grew with each passing week. The investigation stalled. Years have passed since 2015. The Godavari River bodies case remains cold, unsolved, a chilling mystery. 9 souls, unnamed, unavenged. Who were they? Why were they killed? Who committed such a heinous act? The questions hang heavy in the air. The river flows on, guarding its secrets. Perhaps some truths are never found, and the darkness remains, lurking, unseen.